you for joining us for the TSET Targeted Achievement Grant Physical Activity Grant Application webinar. The purpose of this webinar is to provide information about the TSET Targeted Achievement Grant Physical Activity funding opportunity and the timeline associated with it. The webinar will also acquaint you with the TSET mission and purpose and how TSET grants make an impact. We will capture your questions as part of the Q&A process for the grant opportunity. And this webinar is being recorded and will be uploaded to the TSET website within 2 working days. Our presenters today are TSET Executive Director Julie Bisbee, Engagement and Impact Program Manager Angela Daly, and Grants Management Support Specialist Jenna Randall. You can scan this QR code to access the grant application as we walk through it. You can also take a picture of the QR code on your camera to access at a later time. And to do that, you would take the picture and then press the QR code in your photos. And then it will let you access the website directly from that photo. So to begin today, let's watch a short video.
Somewhere in Altus, Oklahoma, a rural doctor is treating patients close to home.
Somewhere in Goodwell, young hands are harvesting a labor of love.
From Drumright to Seminole,
Muskogee to Millwood High School.
TSET is saving lives by supporting tobacco-free lifestyles, cancer research, and funding for healthier schools and communities.
Somewhere in Alusty, the next generation is breathing tobacco-free air. The Tobacco Settlement Endowment Trust.
Making Oklahoma healthier, somewhere near you.
Well, good afternoon, everyone. I'm Julie Bisbee. I am the Executive Director of TSET, and I wanted to take a minute to tell you a little bit about us and welcome you to this webinar, or what we like to call TAG, grants, Targeted Achievement Grant. And it really helps fulfill our mission. As you may know, we are a voter-created endowment trust, and we only use the earnings to support grants and programs. And our mission is improve health, quality of life, provide accountable programs and services, and address the hazards of tobacco use and other health issues. Like I said, voters created TSET in 2000. We are celebrating our 25th anniversary this year, so I always want to thank voters for their support and continuing to trust us with this work. We were established after Oklahoma and many other states sued Big Tobacco for the harms that they caused the public by lying about their product, by saying that their product was harmless, and working to increase nicotine so that they would be addictive. We are the only constitutionally protected endowment in the country for these master settlement agreement dollars. And we seek to improve health by addressing 3 behaviors that cause 4 conditions and help to fuel more than 50% of deaths in our state. So let's unpack that. Those 3 behaviors are poor diet, tobacco use, and sedentary lifestyle, causing 4 conditions: lung disease, heart disease and stroke, cancer, and diabetes. Again, this is causing way too many Oklahomans to die prematurely and also driving up our cost of care, making it difficult for Oklahomans to enjoy quality of life. So our goal is to prevent these illnesses before they happen by helping Oklahomans live healthier lives. The good news, especially as we celebrate this 25th anniversary, is that this programs, they get results. We've seen the rate of adult smoking decrease to 15% from when we started. More than 600,000 registrations to the Oklahoma Tobacco Helpline, which is one of our flagship programs. And we are seeing our youth smoking rate decline. And now I'm going to pass it on to our program manager, Angela Daly, to talk to you about some of these opportunities where you can be part of that success that TSET has had over the years and how you can help to improve the quality of life for your community.
Thank you, Julie, and good afternoon, everyone. Fiscal year 26 includes expanded opportunities for the TSET Targeted Achievement Grants, including new Targeted Achievement Grants for physical activity. This RFA includes expanded funding for program initiatives aimed at supporting community-based group programs that encourage movement across all ages in Oklahoma. The maximum award for this funding opportunity is up to $100,000 per year for up to 3 years. And as mentioned, sedentary lifestyle is a major contributor to chronic diseases such as diabetes, heart disease, and obesity. This funding reflects a strategic focus on addressing some of the root causes associated with chronic disease. Eligible applicant organizations for this funding opportunity includes Oklahoma local governments such as towns, cities, and counties. It also includes nonprofit 5013C organizations, tribal nations, institutions of common and higher education, county health departments, and public entities such as public school districts and sites, as well as state government. As a state of Oklahoma government agency, TSET funds cannot be used directly or indirectly to advance or promote religious beliefs or to inhibit or discriminate against the religious beliefs of others, and cannot be used to benefit or support any priest, preacher, minister, or other religious teachers. Events can be held at places of worship if they are open to the public, and TSET can support activities at places of worship if the activities are accessible to all and religious language, symbols, books, or written information are not used to promote a TSET-sponsored event. As part of a pilot grant initiative, TSET is committed to expanding access to opportunities for community-based programs that encourage movement across all ages in Oklahoma, in the counties listed on this slide. These counties have been selected based on TSET's history of collaboration and community engagement in these areas. And by focusing efforts in counties where a strong foundation has been laid, this pilot initiative will maximize impact and serve as a scalable model for possible expansions into regions in the future. Applications are limited to serving one or more of the following geographical areas listed, and please be sure to review the RFA for any restrictions related to a proposed service area. All applicants must have at least 1 year of experience managing programs that promote health, physical activity, or community engagement, and applicants must also provide documentation of recurrent social support programs over the past year as well. A demonstration and experience of these recurrent support may include, but is not limited to, participant results or satisfaction, program promotion, goals and objectives achieved, partnership agreements, and program or agency annual reports. Match funding is not required for this grant opportunity. However, applicants that submit letters confirming matching funds for each reported match dollar will receive preference points during the full application review. Funding is reimbursement-based, and all awarded programs must spend at least 95% of awarded funds within the grant period. TSET is a constitutionally created state agency and must comply with all state laws. Oklahoma law prohibits payment for goods, services in advance according to the Oklahoma Central Purchasing Act. Therefore, all awards are paid on a reimbursement basis, and awarded organizations must be able to expend funds upfront before TSET will reimburse for any charges. Applicant organizations must have a brick and mortar office located in Oklahoma at the time of application. The program area or property where the program will be located must be owned or under control of the applicant at the time of submitting the grant application. Awards will not be made to organizations that receive funds or benefit from tobacco sales. And applicant organizations must also have signed and dated tobacco-free wellness policies in place at time of the application. These policies must align with the requirements outlined in the RFA, where you can also find those sample policies in the RFA as well. And all eligible applicant organizations must be in good standing with the Oklahoma Secretary of State. During TSET's technical review of submitted grant applications, we will make sure that all applicant eligibility requirements are met, and if they are not met, the application will not receive a full review. And depending on the scope and purpose of the proposed program, TSET may assign an external evaluator to support implementation and/or develop a follow-up assessment. Successful applicants must be willing to support program awareness of TSET's funding through program communications, recognition of funding, permanent signage, and in partner and donor communications. This is a key requirement in ensuring the visibility of TSET's mission in Oklahoma, and a plan to publicly promote the program and intended schedule of events, if applicable, is required if funding is approved as well. Applicants must identify staff that will provide support for the grant, including an authorized official, program coordinator, and financial officer. The authorized official receives the contracts for the grant and is authorized to sign contracts on behalf of the organization. The program coordinator is directly responsible for ensuring that the grant meets its requirements and agreed upon results. And the financial officer prepares and submits requests for reimbursement and tracks program spending. Each role has unique responsibilities, therefore they should not all be fulfilled by one individual. These roles should be assigned directly to staff that are directly employed by the applicant agency and not by a third-party subcontractor. TSET staff will communicate with a designated representative from the applicant's agency, and any communication with grant subcontractors should remain between the applicant agency and identified subcontractor. TSET staff will not work solely with grantee subcontractors, but if communication with a grant subcontractor should be needed, the applicant's designated representative should be included. Eligible applicants must also demonstrate the need for the program by providing local data collected within the last 3 years. All data must be cited within the application and must be publicly accessible. If it's not publicly accessible, then it must be provided in an appendix with the application. And now we're going to go over a few examples of the kinds and types of data that may be included with your application. However, this list is not exhaustive. For example, a needs assessment conducted by the applicant organization or a contractor. This can also include a community health needs assessment that indicates a need for social support programming. It may also include a community health improvement plan indicating a need for social support programming, community surveys completed by the applicant, city or town, or a local organization, or it may also include community listening session reports as well. Grant funding supports innovative and effective new programs or major expansions of existing programs that significantly broaden the applicant's reach. This funding opportunity supports new or expanded social support programs in community settings that aim to build, strengthen, and sustain social networks that encourage and reinforce positive changes in physical activity behavior. Please be sure to review the RFA for any restrictions related to the proposed service area. And we are going to go over implementation activities. So to better gauge interest for physical exercises and activities, applicants may use up to the first 90 days of the grant award to strengthen or develop a plan to ensure alignment with the needs of the community. This may include identifying local assets such as partnership facilities or trainers, data collection tools, or creating processes and systems required to enhance sustainability. And the completion of a needs assessment is not required, but it is an available planning activity for potential applicants. And as you see, we will go over some of the examples of these implementation activities. So you may have seen some real world examples of social support groups such as Walk with the Dog, chair volleyball, a story time or a library story time walk. Additional activities may include seated and standing group cardio and strengthening classes. It may also include pickleball, a walking group, or we can see here a group attending social stickball. Additional implementation activity examples may also include dancing, yoga, hiking, or biking. And funding also includes small supplies for indoor or outdoor physical exercise and group activities, including their storage. So these examples may include movable storage racks, stability balls, and foam rollers. And this next slide will feature some additional examples of small supplies for indoor and outdoor physical activities and their storage. So as we can see here, there's some bike racks, strength and resistance bands, pickleball paddles, and yoga mats. And now I'm going to hand it over to Grants Management Specialist, Jenna Randall, who will review the timeline and the submission process for applications.
Hi, everyone. So excited that you're here, and we're so excited for your interest in TSET funding opportunities. As Angela said, my name is Jenna Randall, and I'm with our grants management team. So we'll go over important information that you need to know as it pertains to your application, as well as like a potential award. So here is our timeline. So this opportunity was released on September 23rd last month, and we have a Q&A process that will give a little more details within a couple slides, but make sure you know the date October 24th as your last day to submit questions. That guarantees that we'll be able to answer them and have enough time to get them posted for the public Q&A process. Our applications for this opportunity close on November 18th at 4 p.m. Central Time. So this is a hard deadline. We will not accept any applications after 4 p.m. Due to the rules. So make sure you get your applications in by 4 p.m. And then these awards will be announced after our March 26th Board of Directors meeting. So applications due on the 18th. We'll go through the review process here at TSET, and then announcements on award decisions will be in March. And then these are slated to start on July 1st. So the submission process for TSET grants goes through our funding portal, which can be accessed on our website. There's a tab that says funding portal. You'll have to make an account to access it. We'll get into some more details on that soon, but keep this email handy if you have any questions. portalhelp@tset.ok.gov is your contact for any technical assistance with the funding portal, including questions with registration, and we'll be able to get you set up with some help there. So in terms of technical assistance or any questions you have about the application process, we encourage you to not wait till the last minute to reach out and ask. We love to help. We love to do everything we can to help, but we need to make sure that we can have adequate time to do that. So help us help you by making sure you get all questions to us for technical assistance or other application questions with as much time as possible. And if during your application you realize you make a mistake or you'd like to make any kind of edits or there was no omission from your application, the application portal does allow you to make changes to your applications after you submit it, as long as it's before the application deadline. So edits can be made before the deadline, but once the deadline passes, no changes or additional information can be provided. It's also important to note that if you make a change, you need to click submit again rather than just clicking save. So make sure if you make any edits after your original submission that you click submit again. So our biggest recommendation to applicants is to make sure you read the RFA in its entirety and submit all of the required documents listed in the RFA. The application processes that we have the application review processes that we have include a technical review as well as a full review. So once the application deadline passes, we go through what we call the technical review, which is just making sure that all of the required components of each application are there before they go to full review, which is the in-depth analysis of the application sections and the proposed projects. So the next few slides will go over some helpful tips and tricks we have for potential applicants, just things that we have noticed along the way that will help you be able to get through the technical review process. So first being, the first requirement is attachment A, which is the workers' compensation insurance coverage certification on the TSET template. This form has to be submitted. It must be signed and dated and have either your workers' compensation insurance policy number or an exemption notice along with it. So this is a very important piece that you have to turn in, as well as the next slide shows an example of this is a sample required workers' compensation form. So you have to submit attachment A, which is the last slide of the TSET template, as well as a copy of your workers' compensations coverage or a statement of exemption here. Oh. So next, as Angela mentioned, we have requirements for workplace wellness and tobacco-free policies for grantees, and these must be submitted with your application, and they have to have a signature by the authorized official and the date that it was adopted. So these things, a lot of times we see people submit copies of policies that don't have a signature on them, but just make sure all policies and all forms must be signed and dated for them to pass the requirements of the application RFA. So if you haven't already enrolled or registered for TSET's funding portal, you'll want to make sure you get that taken care of. It's the only way that you can do your application. So applicants must register for the TSET funding portal account on the website. We have a lot of resources on there, such as job aids and instructional videos on how to help. If you need any help finding any of those, we are more than happy to help. To register, you will need your name, your role at the applicant agency that you're applying for, as well as the federal employer identification number, and you'll use your email and create a password so you log in, and then we'll be able to access the application from there. So here is a QR code. This is not the only place that you'll be able to find this information, but if you'd like it now, please save this QR code for your future reference. This is where all of the questions for this grant opportunity will go to. So this QR code will pull up a web form and you'll be able to submit your question, share your contact information, and this is part of our public Q&A process. So because of it being an open application period, we answer all questions publicly, so it's available to all potential applicants. So these will be posted on the website on October 15th and November 5th with our official question and answer template. So you'll just go to the Targeted Achievement Grant physical activity page and scroll down to the Q&A section, and that's where all of these answers to any questions submitted will be found. So questions received after 4 p.m. on October 24th may not receive a response. We do our absolute best to make sure we get as much information and answer as many questions as possible, but this is the hard deadline that we have in place to say, if you have any questions, please get them to us before 4 p.m. on October 24th, so we can make sure that they get posted on the website before November 5th. And when you're submitting a question, we urge you to please try to be as specific as you can and include any references to the RFA you have or any questions, as it helps us answer the questions as thoroughly as possible and actually answer the types of questions that are asked if we know in as much detail as possible. So if it's the applicant's responsibility to check the TSET website for answers to submitted questions, so make sure that you keep up with the dates that the answers are posted, and we will for sure post them on those days. It won't give you a notification that it's posted. You'll just have to make sure that you check the website and see all of the answers that are posted there. So here are some reminders we have about the public Q&A process. So TSET cannot respond to questions about whether an organization's specific program is eligible for a TSET grant. And potential applicants should read the open TSET RFA to determine if the organization's program aligns with TSET's mission and the specific RFA's scope of work. If you have any assistance requests associated with any of the documents in the RFA guide, you can email grantsmanagement@tset.ok.gov, and our whole team monitors this email inbox and will be able to give any technical assistance as it relates to the application documents and requirements and RFA issues or application issues and things like that. But any other types of questions will need to go through the public Q&A process. So here are some reminders about your application. We want applicants to be as confident and thorough in the details submitted in your application as possible, because any major changes, if you are awarded afterward and there needs to be major changes made, we may not be able to accommodate them Examples of major changes include changes in the scope of work, changes in project site location, major shifts in your project plan or budget. We encourage applicants to be as confident as possible in these types of things before you submit your application, because the award will be difficult to change and may not be able to be accommodated. So here's a QR code that will take you to the TSET website about other funding opportunities. And it'll show you all of the things we have going on. We have lots of exciting things happening now and coming up in the future. We always have new things. If you have any questions about upcoming opportunities, this is a great place to start. We are very excited to be doing this work and very excited for your interest in it. And I will be giving it back to Amanda now. So thank you all. If you have any questions about grants management, please email grantsmanagement@tset.ok.gov.
Thank you, Jenna, and thank all of you for joining us for the TSET Targeted Achievement Grant Physical Activity Application webinar. Again, this recorded webinar will be available on the TSET website within 2 working days. And once again, thank you for your interest in being a part of TSET's work to improve the health of all Oklahomans. And I will put the QR code back up. Thank you, everybody.